live from the YouTubes. We are back with yet another live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to see you. How you guys doing? Just waiting for everybody to kind of get the chat room. I am looking forward to today's episode. We are going to do a lot of recapping and talking about our thoughts on DC Fandome. Everybody in the chat, nice to see everybody. Yay, everybody's like, what's up? Hi, Mr. Austin. Hey, how y'all doing? Hi, good day, sir. We are definitely going to do the Ask Me Anything portion of this video like we always do. But first, we've got to talk a little bit about DC Fandome and all of the crazy, awesome stuff that we saw yesterday. We have already had some super chats. So here's how we're going to do today's episode. If I get a super chat, we're going to stop, acknowledge the super chat, continue to go, and then after we get done with the DC Fandome portion, I will address the actual live chat. So let's start with the first one. Do you believe, just looking from the teaser, that we are going to get a darker, grittier tale than Nolan's Batman? The Nolan's Batman is tough, because that's kind of the Batman that we're used to getting the dark, gritty tale from. But, man, it looks... I mean, I said it yesterday, this could be the first R-rated Batman movie that we've seen. I think there's a very good shot. So, yeah, I think it could be dark and gritty. Darker than Nolan's, I don't know, but we'll just have to see. Film Geek says, if you can watch one movie we saw from the trailer for yesterday today, which do you choose? It's probably Batman. So what's a different one that you choose? Well, do we count Suicide Squads as a trailer? If we're going to count that as a trailer, I'm going to say Suicide Squad. Listen, that was so unexpected, guys. I mean, granted, we still don't completely have a feel for what the movie's going to be, but and we're going to talk about it more in depth here in just a second. But man, I am shocked at how much I enjoyed that Suicide Squad footage, and I am shocked that we got a pretty solid DC Fandome yesterday. And let's get right into this recap portion again, and let me play this just so you guys see it. If you leave any super chats, we'll be sure to acknowledge. But I just kind of want to go through what we got yesterday, starting at the beginning, starting with Wonder Woman, and talk about this Wonder Woman trailer really quick. That was really well done. I think the topic of discussion here is Cheetah. And I'd love to know in the chat room, how did everyone feel about the look of Cheetah? Because it's still not, in my opinion, maybe living up to the lofty expectations that we had. But hey, it's 10 times better than Cats. And I really enjoyed this Wonder Woman trailer. I thought it was fun. I thought it was upbeat. The only reason I didn't do a video is because I knew I'd run out of notifications, and I did eventually. But hopefully you guys caught all the videos we put out yesterday. But again, I thoroughly enjoyed this Wonder Woman trailer. Now, we do have some people saying the Cheetah design needs to be improved. I mean, here's my thing, guys, about that. I think they've still maybe even got a bit to do. I don't know exactly what footage we saw, but there were some elements that I said, okay, that could look good. Maybe just in motion, it's not going to look the best, but there's only so much you can do with Cheetah. I mean, what more could they do other than make it more detailed? And we could definitely see that. I think we will get some more improvement as time progresses. But as for the trailer itself, I thought it was pretty good. I really did. I thought the trailer worked, and it's getting me more and more excited to see that movie. Then we got into some very interesting Flash discussions. A couple of things that I want to acknowledge here. First of all, I love kind of the idea that and at first I was skeptical, but I'm getting more and more on board of, okay, we have Flashpoint. We have to accept that Flashpoint is the first Flash movie. And what they said during the panel is, Michael Keaton's Batman is not going to be the only one that we see. We could see more of these characters. And they showed us, the CW Flash. They showed us Watchmen. They showed us Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. I mean, nothing was confirmed here. But they're essentially saying, this is a live action Into the Spider-Verse, y'all. This is live action Into the Spider-Verse for Batman, but it's a Flash movie. So there's so much going on here. But I really think it's interesting. Michael Keaton Batman meets Flash 2022. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. That is Michael Keaton's Batman. And yes, playing the 1989 theme. Super cool. Can't wait for that. Acknowledging this super chat from Morgan. Thank you so much for the super chat, Morgan. Appreciate your support over on the Discord page. Let's go to the next bit of news that we got, aka the Suicide Squad. And this is what we were talking about just a bit earlier. I was such a huge fan of this footage that we got. It's a war film, guys. Suicide Squad, it is a straight up, full-on war movie. It looks awesome. It is a complete 180 from what we saw in the first movie. And, you know, even if you liked the first film, right, I think there's some elements going to be carried over. Obviously, we got some of the characters, Amanda Waller, Harley Quinn, but you're adding in a brand new cast. It looks way more colorful, and the action looks outstanding, guys. Outstanding. So I am so much more pumped. I tweeted out yesterday, this, for me, was the one that just caught me completely off guard because I didn't know it was going to look this good. I had no clue. So the Suicide Squad footage was fantastic. We do have another super chat from AJ Taylor that says, Matt Reeves, Chinatown Taxi Driver. I saw this, by the way, The French Connection, as inspirations for the Batman. So a lot of people compare a movie like Joker to Taxi Driver, right? But Matt Reeves is saying, listen, we're taking these dark and gritty and just kind of hardcore, but keeping that character-centric, character study type film and bringing that to the Batman, man. That's what I want to see. And AJ, I love the fact that you point that out. That's something that I was really hoping somebody would bring up during the live chat. What movies to pull from? Chinatown, Taxi Driver. Come on, guys. I am so excited for the Batman. But let's keep going with yesterday's panels. And you know what? Let's move straight into Black Adam and Shazam before we get into the Snyder Cut. Now, this was cool because they revealed a couple of really interesting things here. First off, I had no clue the entire Justice Society or the descendants of the Justice Society. It is kind of funny because when we think of the OG Justice Society, we think of characters like Adam and some remaining characters. But then here we have Adam Smasher, who is kind of like the second iteration of the Atom. We have, I believe this is Cyclone, not as familiar with her. I think the name's Cyclone, by the way. So that was definitely an interesting addition. It might be a nice character to bring some light to. We have Dr. Fate, who is just a fascinating character. Of course, he can live, he can live a long time. So he's coming down from probably hundreds and hundreds of years in the past. And then my personal, just the one I'm kind of like, oh, I never thought we'd see this live action, is Hawkman. Now, if you guys are fans of the animated series, you kind of know who Hawkgirl is. And I'm sure a lot of people know who Hawkman is, but it'll be really cool. And that Ryan Reynolds rumor, I don't think it's going to come true, but I'm interested to see who may be playing Hawkman. We got a rumor circulating. I think it was Skarsgård, Alexander Skarsgård, I believe was the name. Help me out in the comments, guys, if you know. But so that would be interesting enough for sure. But Hawkman is a cool character. Then we get into Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods. And by the way, if you guys are just hanging out in the chat right now, I will be going over my top 5 moments a bit later on in the video, counting down what I'm most excited for. So stay tuned for that. But Shazam 2 didn't get to reveal much to us, which was unfortunate. But they did give us the title, Fury of the Gods. And Sinbad was there. So that was that was cool. I like Sinbad. Aquaman panel, kind of the same thing. We did get a confirmation of Ocean Master, which was nice. I'm glad Patrick Wilson is returning. I think he's a great actor, but not too much there to work with in terms of news. And then obviously, well, actually, you know what? I do want to hit on this one real quick. And this is actually my thumbnail for my video yesterday. This Static Shock news was really cool, guys. Really, really cool. I mean, this entire world of, there's a lot of different characters within this particular section of the DC universe. But Static, the character of Static, and one of my favorite shows growing up, Static Shock, is one of the coolest things you could imagine coming into live action and maybe animated form. So, yeah, I mean, they almost kind of passed it up. They're like, yeah, we're working on a movie. And I was like, wait, what? We're working on a Static movie? Okay. I love Static as a character. And if you're unfamiliar, do a little bit of research into some of the story. Man, he got some great storylines in DC. He really does. And I'll go back to the chat room here in just a second. But, of course, we have to talk about the Snyder Cut. Of course. And I will talk about the trailer here in a little bit when we talk about my top moments. But I I like what Zack Snyder had to say. And I like that what we saw in that trailer was a lot of new stuff and some different takes on some scenes that we saw, but just a lot of new elements. Now, the dark side look, I think that maybe that didn't live up to my lofty expectations. But hey, it's still dark side. It's still cool. I just really like that we're getting this version. And guys, 4 hours of the Justice League split into 4 different parts on HBO Max. So we'll definitely be, we'll have to see how we soak that in and if we do indeed get a movie form. But I'm excited, man. I'm just glad he's kind of delivering on the promise of, okay, new footage, new characters, and a couple of confirmations yesterday that I thought were very interesting. And then, of course, vengeance. Man, we'll talk top 5 moments here in just a second, but brutal, man. Robert Pattinson was brutal in this trailer. Not in a bad sense. I mean, like, the dude was wailing on people, and I really liked the Bat voice. Just a small look at the Bat voice. So we'll have to see when we get more. Granted, I don't want more yet, because I feel like if we get more, I'm just going to keep getting excited. I'm going to keep getting completely motivated and pumped up beyond belief. But yeah, we will just have to see, guys. I am seriously excited for this movie. I'm going to get in the chat room and see what you guys have to say really, really quick about the Batman. So we have Alex Rivers saying, yeah, I agree with that sentiment. The action scene looked great. Pattinson is a great fit. And here's the thing, Alex Lopez, with the point that I want to make here, he is a great actor. And I know people look at Twilight and, maybe you disagree, but I truly believe with Good Time, with The Lighthouse, with High Life, even though I didn't love that movie, he is consistently proving himself. I'm so excited to see him in Tenet, even though he is playing a completely different character, but that shows Pattinson's range. It shows his range. So I'm excited for this movie, guys. I really am. I think the Batman is going to deliver in terms of maybe not our lofty expectations, because our expectations are high, but as a film, I am thoroughly, thoroughly pumped about it. So I do have my top 5 moments from DC Fandome yesterday. But first, I want to know, and by the way, guys, if you like this more specific live stream, be sure to hit that thumbs up button just because it tells me you want more, and it helps the video to kind of get it out there to other people. So if you're enjoying what you're getting, hit that thumbs up. It really does. It helps out the channel and this video. But these specific live streams are fun. They're very fun, even though normally I love doing the Q&A. But we are going to go into that chat room right now and see what you guys are saying. So there was a super chat a little bit earlier from Morgan, and it is a bit off topic, but it's a super chat, so we are going to acknowledge it. Do you think that art is objective or subjective? I think there's a bit of both in there. Art is definitely more objective than subjective. Absolutely. I can feel a way about a horrible movie that no one else agrees with me on, but I can objectively say, here's why it's a good movie. Here's why it works for me specifically. But I know it's not the same for others. And we'll get into my top 5 moments here in just a second, guys. But in terms of subjectivity, I do think there are techniques, and you look at a script and, how it builds up certain characters. You can look at it because, I took classes on filmmaking, so I do have to approach it sometimes from that standpoint. But also, it's all about opinion, man. It is really all about opinion. And if you love a movie that I don't love, vice versa, I think that's one of the beautiful things about movies. So it's hard to give you one specific answer for that. But overall, it's a pretty good super chat. Thank you, Morgan. I appreciate it. Okay, so into the normal chat, we're just going to see what you guys are saying, talking about Robert Pattinson. The Lighthouse is genius. Absolutely. We do have someone who has seen Tenet. Robert Pattinson was really well done in Tenet. I assume you've seen it. Maybe you haven't, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know exactly where his character is going to go. I do have some theories about his character, by the way, speculation on where he goes in the movie. But I don't want to reveal that, obviously, because people have seen the film. How do you think they're going to replace the old Batman with a new actor? I'm not for sure specifically what you mean, but in terms of Ben Affleck, it's just a completely different universe. And that's kind of where a lot of people are approaching it from and they announced this yesterday. This was one of the announcements at Fandome, is this interpretation of the Batman, just like the Joker, is its own universe entirely. So yeah, I'm interested to see if there's ever a shot we get some sort of crossover. But that's a good chat nonetheless. Hey, Austin, I prefer Batman Begins with The Dark Knight. You're not alone. A lot of people do. I much prefer The Dark Knight. Well, I guess not too much. I prefer The Dark Knight. It is my favorite movie of all time. But yeah, I can see where you're coming from, because Batman Begins is a very good thing. Paul Joseph says, bye, Austin. It's 12:50 a.m. in India. I have an exam tomorrow morning. Paul Joseph, you've been with me for this long. I appreciate that. Get some sleep, my friend, and do very well on your exam. Are you as excited as I am for having Dr. Fate in Black Adam? Was not expecting that. I wasn't either, Stormy. That was a shock to me. And just the Justice Society in general is such a cool, again, it's kind of a different interpretation of the Justice Society from what we're used to, right? But I like these characters. I think we'll add even more eventually. And I'm interested to see how it connects with Shazam as opposed to just being Black Adam specific, because eventually they're going to cross paths, y'all. And I am extremely excited for that. A couple more chats before we move into my top 5 DC Fandome moments. Do you hate or like Ben Affleck? I love Ben Affleck. I love him. I think he's a great guy. I think the best part of him signing on for The Flash, and I think it's the fact that he's kind of found himself in real life, right? Before, he was in a bad place, so he didn't want to play that character because there's a lot of scrutiny involved with that character. But now things are looking up. I'm pretty sure he's still with Ana de Armas, so it looks like he's got a happy relationship, and things are looking up for Ben Affleck. So I'm happy for him. Seems like a cool guy in real life, and signing back on to play the Batman, something I think a lot of people never anticipated. Very, very cool. Let's see. Couple more things. The Rock, in terms of Black Adam, he's crushing it, becoming one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. Absolutely agree. Here's an interesting point from Movie Boy. Taika Waititi, I think he's going to be the villain in the Suicide Squad because he was not on the panel, but he was on the cast list. That's my theory as well, Movie Boy. I think Taika Waititi could be the villain in Suicide Squad. We have never seen Taika Waititi play. I don't think we've seen him play a villain. Obviously Hitler, but he was a figment of the imagination there. So I do think there's a really good shot that we see Taika Waititi kind of playing a different character than what we're used to. So that's super cool. The Batman is my number 1 most anticipated movie of 2021. You may not be alone in that sentiment, my friend. You may not be alone. I'll talk about my most anticipated just a little bit later, but it's definitely up there on my list. And who do you like more as a Flash actor? It's tough. I've not seen enough from Ezra Miller to really, because, I thought he was funny in the movie, but he didn't really feel like Barry Allen for me. So we'll have to see where it goes. I am a big fan of Grant Gustin, but the CW universe is something that I kind of fell off of. John Wesley Shipp is great as the Flash. Very good. He comes in the CW world, the episodes that I've seen. I think I made it to season 3 or 4. He was great. So I don't have that definitive Flash actor yet. Maybe Flashpoint is kind of the switch up, the change up that I need. But yeah, I don't have a specific answer for you just yet. They're all just kind of really good. Actually, Michael Rosenbaum from Justice League, the animated series. That's my Flash actor, guys. That's the Flash I grew up with. He was so good. He was quippy. He was quirky, but he had that nice balance of kind of what we saw. I think he was he Wally or was he Barry? I can't remember. I think I can't remember exactly which Flash he was, but he had kind of a little bit of everything that we wanted to see in Flash. So really liked Michael Rosenbaum, who is Lex Luthor in Smallville, as the Flash. And let's do one more before King Shark, man. That's really exciting. We have the voice, and then we have the person in real life. Yeah, so he was Wally. Yeah, I figured because he was a lot more quippy version of the Flash, but and I do remember him taking the mask off and Batman saying Wally, and I think Wonder Woman called him Wally a bunch. But he was very good. Very, very good. And then you look at a show like Young Justice. I was a huge fan of that incarnation of Barry, and then that incarnation of Wally, and what happened to his character, and y'all know if you've seen it. So I'm extremely excited. But guys, I want to get into, before we do the Ask Me Anything portion, I want to get into my top 5 moments. So we're going to count them down. We're going to rank, in my opinion, the best things that I saw from yesterday. And I do want to start with number 5, and that is the Justice Society in Black Adam. Again, we just talked about it. I could not believe that they revealed that we're essentially getting, and again, I think there's a possibility for even more. I really do. We have the characters that they established: Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Cyclone. I think we could be getting more revealed eventually. And Noah Centineo as Atom Smasher. That's an interesting casting because, you guys know I talk about Netflix stuff quite often, and I've not been a huge fan of his movies, but I think he's pretty, I think he's pretty charming. I really do. He's a charming guy. He's got a bit of spunk that I think he could use. And for a character that's not as well known like Atom Smasher, I honestly think he is perfect. So if you guys have thoughts on the Noah Centineo casting, it'll be cool to kind of see. It's almost like what some people see in Robert Pattinson. Oh, he's the Twilight guy, and now he's Batman. This could be that for Noah Centineo's career. So that kind of gets me excited. And again, the Justice Society reveal was extremely cool for me. Number 4, we got the Michael Keaton concept art, and I'll show it on screen one more time. This was awesome. I love this image. I love the fact that Michael Keaton is back as Batman, and Flash going to all of these different universes, establishing that we have Ben Affleck still in our universe and possibly messing up the timeline in the process, which I think there is a very good chance he could do. I think Flash could easily mess up the timeline, and, we'll just have to see where it goes. But this is definitely, this was fighting for this 3 spot. Honestly, 4, 3, 2 were extremely hard to kind of nail down, but Michael Keaton in Flash, come on, guys. And the Ben Affleck announcement, I'll kind of pair with that, but we didn't get concept art for that. Number 3, the Snyder Cut trailer. I couldn't believe it. I expected a lot of the same stuff. I really did. I'm like, okay, well, it's going to be cool. There's going to be some nice music. The Hallelujah song was kind of hilarious because it's kind of how all fans that were asking for the Snyder Cut for so long, they were saying Hallelujah, and that's kind of what should be said. Hallelujah, this is finally getting done. Hallelujah, we are getting the Snyder Cut, guys. Seriously, I am so happy to see that we have something in store for fans that have been asking for this for so long. And I thought the footage that we saw was good. Again, Dark Side, a bit questionable. We do have some people saying, I love the Snyder Cut trailer. Snyder Cut trailer was beautiful. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was shocked that I enjoyed it on the level that I did, guys. But that is absolutely my 3rd favorite moment. Here's the biggest shock of the day for me. Number 2, the Suicide Squad footage. I knew we'd get something, and I said it during my live stream yesterday. We got something really, really cool. Something really, really cool and entertaining in that Suicide Squad footage. It established the fact that this is a war movie. It established the fact that James Gunn really is taking this entire cast of characters in a different direction, a complete 180. So nice to see. I'm happy that there are a lot of people kind of coming on board with the new incarnation of the Suicide Squad. And this cast, guys, John Cena is the funniest. John Cena is the funniest one, cracked me up. But everyone, even down to Sean Gunn as Weasel. I couldn't believe we got Sean Gunn as Weasel. That is a hilarious call. What a random character to throw in there, but it's almost like the perfect character. Suicide Squad meets Apocalypse Now. I'm in. Yeah, it felt like a hardcore. They were making like World War II comparisons. The Suicide Squad looks like a great fresh reboot. Yeah, I think it does. Fresh was something that I didn't know that we were going to get. I was hoping we would because it's James Gunn, but we definitely got something fresh. If Polka Dot Man dies, I walk. I said yesterday, he is the one character that I think is too obvious to die because that's kind of the one we all expect. I don't know if he's going to die now. I'm like, yeah, Polka Dot Man. We'll have to see. But yeah, I think a lot of people are excited for Suicide Squad. Cool seeing someone like Pete Davidson in there, the douchey Captain America. It's a hilarious way to put it, kind of what John Cena was saying yesterday. And I like this footage, guys. I was a huge fan of what we got. And Stormy saying, Polka Dot Man, King Shark, my favorites. Yeah, guys, a live action King Shark. But you know what? Don't get too attached. Don't get too attached, you guys. We know a lot of these characters are not going to make it to the end of the movie. You know what it's time for? It's time to talk about my number one moment from DC Fandome yesterday. And that moment is a moment that is probably extremely obvious, but I want to talk about it anyway. And that is the Batman trailer. How could this not be the number one moment? Just because I didn't expect it to be this good. You guys know. I've had plenty of Batman videos. I've been hyped about the Batman for so long. I've been just motivated to see what Robert Pattinson was going to do, but I didn't know we were going to get this dark tone. I had no clue we were going to get a tone this dark, and a movie that again could possibly be rated R. And Robert Pattinson says it. I am vengeance. I couldn't, and I love the turn there. I love the swerve. We all expect him to say, "I'm Batman," but instead he says, I'm vengeance. And I love that. I thought it was really, really cool. I think the choice of dialogue in the trailer worked really well for the character. I have seen some people say, well, maybe it's a bit too obvious he's Batman because he's kind of dark and brooding and he looks really sad. It's sad boy's Batman. All right. Well, you know what? I don't agree because I do think Robert Pattinson's just the vibe that I was getting from his character is the fact that he is, and we've seen Bruce Wayne in this position before. He is a little broken. But year two, that's something we have to keep in mind. Year two, it's not the origin. We're going to get a bit of origin, but it is not the definitive origin for the Batman, right? So he has established himself in Gotham. But what I do think we're getting here, and I think this is extremely cool, is I think we are getting a new interpretation of the Riddler, but it's the Riddler just starting out. A new interpretation of Catwoman, but it's Catwoman just starting out. And same with Penguin. And I couldn't believe, guys, I could not believe that was Penguin. When I watched the trailer and reacted to it, and if you guys saw that video, I didn't even acknowledge Penguin because I thought maybe that was just a different crime boss. But that everyone is saying online, I have no confirmation. I can't say definitively. Everyone is saying that is indeed Colin Farrell as Penguin, which, he's extremely unrecognizable. If you're going to cast Colin Farrell, I kind of want to see Colin Farrell. But then again, he looks just like how I would imagine the Penguin would look. And I think that is Oscar quality makeup there, guys. The makeup and the prosthetics there, I've never seen anything like it in terms of a superhero movie, just completely unrecognizable. And he's not an alien. You see a lot of great makeup and prosthetics in like Guardians of the Galaxy and even in Star Wars and whatnot. No, he's a person just covered in prosthetics and makeup. That is awesome. That's everything I wanted to see in that character. And kind of learning that Paul Dano is indeed the main villain. It's the Riddler. And I was so excited for this because Paul Dano is one of my favorite actors. And I knew he would knock it out of the park as the Riddler. But yeah, man. I couldn't believe he was Riddler. I mean, he was as good as he was as the Riddler. The voice and the way that he looks, I love that it's just kind of a thrown together outfit. He's not got the light green kind of deal, the flashy suit like what we saw with Jim Carrey. He's not sitting on the throne with the cane. I don't want to see that from Paul Dano. I want to see dark and gritty because that's kind of the tone that I got from that trailer. And I want to continue to see things like that. So I'm going to look in the chat and see what you guys are having to say. The Penguin looks like Capone. The Penguin does kind of look like Capone, maybe even more intense than the makeup that we saw on Tom Hardy. Paul Dano loves getting beat up in movies. Let's see how he does against Batman. I saw something really funny on Twitter yesterday. It said Paul Dano's Riddler is a continuation from the character that we got in Prisoners. So it's kind of like Prisoners is the origin story and the Riddler is what comes after, which is hilarious. But yeah, we gonna see probably Batman beat the snot out of him if they come face to face. Wasn't that Falcone? Yeah, I mean, that was one of my first thoughts is it does kind of look like Carmine Falcone, but everyone online, articles, I mean, websites, they're all saying it's Penguin. I have no confirmation on that, by the way, but as far as I know, yeah. And the makeup is amazing. It's really spectacular. So I'm interested. But yeah, this is a good point. I forgot about this. John Turturro is playing Falcone, so maybe he's in prosthetics. No, I think that was Penguin, guys. But yeah, very, very cool. And best movie of the year, Artemis Fowl, which was Colin Farrell's last movie. Oh, jeez. Okay, so The Beatdown got my money. I think that's the scene that everybody's talking about. The scene that is just kind of proving to me that Matt Reeves is going to handle this action in an extremely cool way, a different way, a fresh way. You know what it reminded me of, guys? It reminded me of Arkham Asylum. Those are kind of the vibes that I got. I got Arkham Asylum vibes, and not necessarily that we're going to see that intense of a fight style, but I do think we're going to see something a little bit similar. So that gets me excited as well. Alex Lopez says, I love the Riddler voice in the Batman. I do too. I think it is brooding. It is dark. It is. It sounds like Paul Dano. I could tell when the trailer was on the first time. I said, "Oh, is that Paul Dano?" But it's a little bit deeper. It's a little bit more just kind of almost like what we saw from Bane. But it almost feels like he's kind of modulating his voice to become more. And here's something else. If you guys are unfamiliar with Hush, so the recent animated movie that we got, and if you haven't seen it, I guess I won't dive too deep, but to talk about this point, I do have to talk about the fact that Riddler and Hush were, I'll just say, related in that movie. And now in the comics, he's not Hush, but that character, who he looks like, does remind me of Hush very much so. I don't think that's the case. I just think it's a different look to the Riddler because that is indeed Paul Dano who's playing the Riddler. But yeah, they may be throwing in some Hush elements, and I'm completely okay with that. And something funny, I've seen the trailer over 100 times. I can't get enough of it. Yeah, I've seen it so many times. I went to work out this morning and showed my workout partner. I showed my wife. I sent it to my dad. I showed my brother. I have sent it to, via text message, everyone that I know. And I've annoyed my wife with how hyped up I am for the movie. If it wasn't my most anticipated movie of 2021 before, it definitely is now, but it was already at the top. Here's a question. Do you think Catwoman, Riddler, and Penguin will be characters that remain prominent throughout the trilogy, or will they be movie specific? It's a good question. It really is a good question. I am not completely sure who is going to bite the dust in this movie, but I have a feeling one of them is going to bite the dust. And right now, so I had a different tone earlier. I said Riddler could be the one to survive. Since Riddler is so prominent in this first movie, I think there is a shot of him not making it to the next film. But I hope they all three make it. I really do hope they all three make it. And I hope that we continue to get this world of the Batman grow, since we're in the early stages of the characters. This is early Riddler. This is early Penguin before he is the Penguin, the crime boss, right? So I'm fascinated to see what is to come from those characters. Robert Pattinson is going to be a great Batman from Keanu Nelson. Yeah, I think he is. I don't want to put all my chips in yet, but I'm going to put enough to make a pretty lofty bet and say he's going to be a good Batman. I really do believe so. Here's the point, though. As long as Riddler doesn't go full Leto Joker, I don't think he will. I think this is more... and the Suicide Squad trailer, the original, kind of showed more of a brooding movie. And it did have a very dark tone. But I don't think he's going to go full Joker. I think this is going to be maybe a bit more down to earth and less over the top. I like this idea of making Riddler more of an intense and dark character, much more of a crime boss to take on Robert Pattinson. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how he's handled. But I think this is one of the best points that I've seen, and that's Dano will do to Riddler what Ledger did to Joker. Now, that's a pretty intense scale. Those are hard things to measure up to, because what Ledger did with the Joker is great. But I hope so, man. I hope we are all looking at Riddler after this movie and saying, that's the villain. That is the Batman villain that maybe comes close to doing what Heath Ledger did as the Joker. Obviously, we got Joaquin Phoenix's incarnation, but I'm just talking movies with Batman in there. Paul Dano is going to Oh my goodness. Paul Dano being beat up by Mysterio because Jake Gyllenhaal. I like that. I like that. That's good. Stormy says the beatdown reminded me of John Wick. Yeah, it did. It really had some John Wick vibes to it. I hope the action's great, guys. Matt Reeves is really, really good. He's proven it. He has proven to just handle action in a cool way and handle scale. I mean, war, obviously, for the Planet of the Apes, but Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I love the scale, that moment when Koba is standing over Caesar's son, and you see the fire in the background. That's one of my favorite shots I've ever seen in a blockbuster. And that's kind of what that's what Matt Reeves brings to his movies, but his blockbusters. But he also feels like an independent filmmaker. It's just a lot of great stuff going on in the world of Matt Reeves, and I'm so excited to see his take on the Batman. We do have a super chat that I want to make sure I acknowledge. I can't get enough of the Snyder Cut trailer. You know, I've watched the Batman trailer many, many times, but I've also watched the Snyder Cut trailer quite a few times. You know, the Hallelujah song didn't work for some. I'm actually getting more like, all right, that's kind of cool. I like what they're doing there. And, you know, seeing Ben Affleck say that line at the end and seeing Cyborg, you know, playing in high school, playing football, what we wanted to see in that movie. Just a lot of elements that I think are unexpected when it comes to the Snyder Cut. Just showcase, man, I'm so happy we're getting Ben Affleck back as Batman, guys. And these were announcements I was a little bit like, okay, why didn't they announce Ben Affleck at Fandome? I'd love to know your thoughts on that. I was expecting a Ben Affleck announcement at Fandome, or, well, I wasn't expecting it, but I would assumed they would have done it at Fandome, but they didn't. They saved that for, or they did it before and saved a couple of these other things for Fandome, which is fine. I get why they released the Batman logo, because, okay, logo now, trailer later. That makes sense. But the Ben Affleck news, I think, would have been something so cool to see fans all around the world get super pumped when Ben Affleck comes into maybe the Flash panel. But again, he didn't go into the Flash panel. He was there for the Snyder Cut panel. But yeah, the Ben Affleck news is something. Oh, and another thing, guys. We didn't get any Henry Cavill. No Henry Cavill other than that one appearance at the Snyder Cut panel. No news on what movies he's going to pop up in. Now, those were rumors. Those were absolute rumors, and I do think there's still a really good shot. But you would think if they were bringing Henry Cavill back, now, again, maybe they're saving that for the next part of DC Fandome. But this was Hall of Heroes. This is where I expected to see a Henry Cavill back as Superman announcement, and we didn't get that, which was extremely unfortunate. So I do think there's a lot that we could still get at the next the next part of DC Fandome, which is coming in September. But these were the major announcements, I believe, during this aspect. All right, guys. So those were my top 5 moments. We're going to run through them one more time just in case you got here or in case you missed them. Number 5 was Black Adam, the Justice Society reveal. So many cool elements that could come from that. Number 4 is Michael Keaton, the concept art that we got of he behind the Flash. That got me super excited. Number 3 is the Snyder Cut trailer. That was so cool, man. I didn't think I would love it as much as I did, but I went back to it a couple times, and it's just new footage. New footage is what I wanted to see. So also 4-hour movie. Oh my goodness. Suicide Squad footage is my number 2. I was just baffled by how cool that behind the scenes footage was. And then, of course, surprising to no one, the Batman. Oh man, guys, we got the trailer for the Batman. It was so cool. And just so many cool moments from DC Fandome yesterday. I'm happy with what Warner Brothers was able to do, and I'm happy that their DC's kind of back, man. That's what it feels like. Got some cool Wonder Woman stuff, Aquaman a little bit, James Wan, Shazam: Fury of the Gods, which is a sweet title. DC's back, and we're going to talk about it right now. So I'm going to get into the chat room and obviously acknowledge the super chats first, and then we can talk more about DC. Or if you guys have any questions for me, be sure to leave those. We'll get to them right now. The super chat that I did miss, though, I believe this is the only one that I've missed over the last few minutes, is Mr. Potato. Says, what makes you like Goodfellas more than The Godfather? Well, it's interesting. So I think in terms of filmmaking, I think they're very similar movies. But I'm more of the kind of the vibe that Scorsese gives us in Goodfellas, and that pacing. The Godfather's a slower movie, obviously. It's a masterful movie, but it's a slower movie. So when I revisit a film, and this factors into it why I like Goodfellas more than The Godfather, I want something to be a little bit more kind of upbeat, or I just want to be 100% invested into these characters. And Goodfellas has both. Great character development, and it's a movie I can watch over and over and over. But again, The Godfather, I mean, it's The Godfather. So I love both movies. I think they're both fantastic. All right, so let's see what's going on in the chat room with you guys. Okay, listen, I don't know what this is, but we did this last week. Let's not do that again, because no, let's not do that. Okay, let's see. Well, you know, you're not the only one. I've seen a lot of people say that online. I don't think he sucks. I just don't think he feels like Barry Allen. I think he feels much more like Wally West in terms of his quippiness. But here's the comparison I'll make. When I saw Wonder Woman and Batman v Superman, I didn't love her. I said, all right, she's cool, but we didn't get a lot, right? So maybe that's the case with Justice League. Maybe once we see the Snyder Cut, okay, probably a similar type of Flash there. But then his own movie could be what Wonder Woman was, because Wonder Woman comes out and I'm like blown away. I'm like, Gal Gadot, she is everything for Wonder Woman. She is the best Wonder Woman. And I couldn't imagine anyone else as Wonder Woman. So we'll have to see how he is in his movie, because it looks like Ezra Miller is coming back as the Flash. Alex Rivers says, are you getting the Batman shirt? Yeah, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. The one with the logo where it says the Batman with the red. I think I'm going to get it, guys. They got some really sweet merch. If you guys want to look at, I think it's Amazon Prime. There's a link there. I actually may start adding that to the description of anytime I do a DC video, the link to the Batman merch. You guys can just click on it and go there. That way you can find some really cool shirts, and they're not sponsoring me or anything, just to make it easier on you guys, because it is a bit difficult to find sometimes. Okay, let's get back into the chat room and see what you guys are saying. What do you think of the actress playing Iris for the Snyder Cut? I like her. Gosh, what's the movie? What's the movie I'm thinking of? Kind of a coming-of-age movie a couple of years ago. I thought she was very, very good in it. I can't remember the title right now, but I like her as an actress. So to see that she's still there and the rumors of recasting her may still be true for Flashpoint, but if she's in the Snyder Cut, they may just see her and be like, yeah, let's just use her for Flashpoint. So she may be coming back as Iris. I liked seeing that Iris scene there, because that tells me, yeah, they are indeed going with it, even if she is recast. So that's pretty cool. Mr. Potato says Suicide Squad giving Guardians vibes. Yeah, I can't disagree with that. Very more, I guess, more down to earth Guardians vibes, but you also got a shark eating a man, so it's not that down to earth. But James Gunn says in the behind the scenes footage, this is the most grand scale and possibly epic movie I've ever made. So that's big, because this is the man who made Guardians and Guardians 2, which was an epic space movie, maybe even more so than the first, even though I prefer the first as a movie. He also said this is the most fun I've ever had making a movie. So I'm like, you better watch it, James. You're gonna make the Guardians cast pretty upset. But I liked his passion for this film. I thought it was super cool. So I am extremely excited for Suicide Squad. Again, just a huge surprise for me. Austin, what are your thoughts on the fact that Tenet has good but not great reviews so far, like other Nolan films? Well, I've honestly tried to just kind of stay away from the reviews for the most part, because I don't want to know anything going into this movie on the 31st. So be on the lookout. The 31st is when my review comes. So I don't care all that much. I kind of want to go in it and form my own opinion. But here's the thing. Everybody's like, oh, and I don't know what the Metascore is now, but when it first, became a Metascore, it was a 71. Inception's a 74. Interstellar's a 74. So it's not that far off. And it's probably went down since then, because I'm sure other reviews have come in. And the last time I looked on Rotten Tomatoes, it was an 80, which is a really good score. And I could imagine that 20%, some people going in with some crazy lofty expectations, and then maybe some people expecting just kind of a more, Nolan isn't a funny guy. He doesn't bring a lot of humor and comedy into his movies, but yeah, I definitely I definitely believe that he is a guy who is going to be directing a very different movie that may take multiple watches to appreciate. But again, I've just tried to steer clear of the reviews because I want to kind of formulate my own opinion. But yeah, so I I was very shocked that going in and looking at the Metascore for Inception and Interstellar, Metascore, not Rotten Tomatoes, I believe both of those are a 74. And then the Metascore for Tenet is a 71. So not too far off, but again, it may have come down since then. Yeah, I couldn't believe it, guys. 74. What a crime. Metascore, again, not Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes is pretty high, but again, Rotten Tomatoes is not the average score. That is just how many people gave that movie a 6 or higher. So I can see less people giving Tenet a 6 or higher because back when Inception came out, we didn't really have the expectations that we have now. Tenet is a hard movie to live up to expectations. And I'm sure there are plenty of valid criticisms, and who knows? I may not like the movie, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. If I don't like it, I'm going to sit here and like, oh no, should I upload it? Should I upload a review? But I have to be honest because honesty is part of the reason why I do this, because sometimes we don't get that within film criticism, and I hope to kind of keep that. But I'll definitely let you guys know when and how many Tenet videos we're going to get. But I am still extremely excited about it. Alex Lopez says, what trailers do you think would be good when it comes to Dune or Mandalorian Season 2? I'm definitely going to be doing reactions to those two trailers. We're supposedly getting a Dune trailer soon. We're supposedly getting a Mandalorian trailer soon. I thought we were getting a Mandalorian trailer the other night, but it looked as if it may have gotten changed unless they just got that wrong altogether. So I'm super excited, but I think both of those movies are going to crush. Dune, I still think has great Oscar chances. Oh my goodness. Austin, which Christopher Nolan do you like the most? The Dark Knight is my favorite Christopher Nolan movie, but I'm a big old Batman guy, even though that is not the Dark Knight Batman, but I'm a big Batman guy. So obviously, but Inception is my number 2. I am a huge Inception fan as well. Interstellar has grown on me. Dunkirk has actually just kind of maybe done the opposite. I don't know if I like Dunkirk as much as I did when it first came out, but a movie like The Prestige and the one that a lot of people tend to forget about is Memento, which has to be one of the most fascinating movies I've ever seen, by the way. I've got a giant red spot on my face here. I'm just noticing. But Memento is a masterful film. I'm a Christopher Nolan fan. I'm a big Christopher Nolan fan. I'll admit that. But again, if Tenet sucks, I'll tell you. Here's a good one from Gax Review. Says, Austin, do you think the hype of Tenet is so insurmountable that it's inevitable to be disappointed? It's a great question. I don't know if it's inevitable per se. Let me make sure I didn't miss any super chats, guys. If I miss a super chat, please let me know because we'll definitely stop and acknowledge those. I wouldn't say insurmountable. I will say we have not seen this level of hype for a movie in quite some time, and that's a lot of it is due to the circumstances that we're under right now. We've just not gotten any movies in theaters. So the first tentpole blockbuster film that we get is going to have these crazy expectations. We thought it was going to be Mulan. It's not Mulan because that's Disney Plus. In the theater, it's Tenet. So, and it's Christopher Nolan, and it's one of a lot of people's favorite filmmakers. So yeah, this is going to be a very difficult movie to live up to people's expectations. But I do this often, and I won't lie to you guys. I'll be reviewing it after one time of watching, and that's probably not the best thing to do. But in the industry that I'm in, I got to do it. I got to get my review out there for you all. So I'm going to watch it once. I'm going to rewatch it. I've already got tickets. I've got tickets for 3 different showings of Tenet. I don't think I'm going to go to one of them, but I had to get the other 2 just to make sure that I got all of the early screenings. But I definitely want to see it twice before I do a spoiler video. There will be a spoiler video on the channel. Maybe my thoughts will change from non-spoiler to spoiler because that's happened with Christopher Nolan's movies. But it's definitely a movie that got some lofty expectations for this film. All right, let's get into some more chat room questions. And again, if I do get a super chat, we're going to stop and acknowledge those. Thoughts on the Riddler's costume? A big fan. of the Riddler's costume. I like it. I like the fact that it looks kind of thrown together. It looks like Riddler went to Goodwill and he's just like, can I have... That was a bad Riddler impression. I was doing Paul Dano from Prisoners. So, but I like it, man. It's cool. It's early stages, though. This is not going to be the Riddler costume we're going to see maybe in a second movie or maybe even by the end of this movie. He will change and get more of a super villain-esque outfit. But as of now, I like it because we're dealing with the origins of the Riddler. And that is really something that I've been wanting to see for quite a while. Hey, guys, let me know. Make sure everything's good in the chat room. Technical wise, I've been going for quite a while. So if anything starts lagging or slowing down, hopefully it doesn't, because I'm planning on going for a little bit to answer your guys' questions. All right, let's see. Are cinemas even open in America? Yes, they are open in America in certain places. Not, I believe they're closed in New York. I think, I don't know about all of California, but some places in California, and they're just like random places across the U.S., but they are open near me, so I do have the opportunity to see Tenet, but I am Tenet's a Tenet pole film. A tent pole, okay. Here we go. Team Rainbow says, what upcoming DC movie do you think is going to be the most critically acclaimed, and what movie do you think is going to make the most at the box office? Well, assuming box office goes back to normal, I think it could be The Batman, but don't count out a movie like The Suicide Squad. Don't count out a movie like Black Adam. Wonder Woman may be a bit too early to get back to normal box office, so I don't think that's going to be it. I think we have to look more in the future. But Aquaman 2 is also a very good call. I mean, the first Aquaman did gangbusters at the box office. If the Batman is rated R, I think it's going to bring in a little bit less box office, but I'm going to be much more excited if it's rated R. But I'd say in terms of that, in terms of critically acclaimed, I mean, I know it seems like I'm fanboying, guys, but you know what? Actually, I changed my answer to the first question. I forgot about Flashpoint. I think I'm going to go Flashpoint. If we do indeed get Ben Affleck, Michael Keaton, The Flash, I think that'll make the most money. I think The Batman is going to be the most critically acclaimed just because Matt Reeves has a very good track record of appraisal from critics. He's the kind of guy that truly and honestly, he creates solid, well-made, just put together and well thought out films with very good character development and extremely interesting shots. His cinematography is always bold and gorgeous. Now, the trailer that we saw for The Batman, it's very dark, but it is a dark character. So we'll just have to see. But yeah, I'm extremely interested. Who do you think Peter Sarsgaard will play in The Batman? Maybe a pre-accident Harvey Dent. That's a great question. I think there's a possibility. Peter Sarsgaard does kind of strike me a little bit as Harvey Dent. Harvey Dent. Can he be trusted? Sorry. But yeah, I think we're going to get a lot of origins for villains in this movie. It's not going to be a Batman origin like Batman Begins, but it's going to be a Batman villain origin for Catwoman and the Penguin before he's the crime boss, the Riddler before he... Yeah, I just think, I mean, I like the way Matt Reeves is doing it and going about it. And we could indeed see cameos from someone like a Harvey Dent, or see cameos from someone like a, you know, like a pre-Mad Hatter Mad Hatter. I'd like some of those random villains. I also... Wasn't the Firefly supposed to be in this movie at some point? So random villains like that get me extremely excited, and not necessarily the more well-known villains. All right, let's see. Oh, here we go. We're going to switch gears a little bit. What's your most anticipated MCU movie for 2021? Well, I've not looked at they shifted the schedule. I know Doctor Strange was supposed to come out. I think that's been moved, if not Doctor Strange. But in terms of the ones that I know are coming out, it's hard not to go with Spider-Man 3, guys. But maybe the Eternals. You know, Spider-Man 3, I'm really excited to see where the character goes. I thought it would be Kraven the Hunter, but then we got that Kraven the Hunter announcement, so I don't know if it's going to be Kraven the Hunter anymore. Spider-Man 3 is definitely up there. If Doctor Strange is still there, Doctor Strange. But again, I think that may have moved into the next year. Not 100% sure on that, though. I'll have to look at the schedule. Here we go. Would you like to see Gavin Murphy says, would you like to see a Batman universe with movies of Red Hood or Nightwing or Catwoman?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I would love to see Red Hood in live action. Batman Under the Red Hood is one of the best animated movies in the DC universe they've ever had to offer. It's so good. It's so good. So maybe a Batman Under the Red Hood movie, not necessarily a Red Hood movie without Batman. A Nightwing movie could be interesting. I don't know about Catwoman. That won't be tough because she's already kind of in the Batman, and we've seen multiple incarnations, interpretations of her. Nightwing could be cool, but I think that would maybe even work better as an HBO Max series. But again, in this current universe, we're too far off from that. But if we get a Robin and Matt Reeves' Batman, that would be super cool. Even though it could be grittier than Christopher Nolan's Batman, I think Matt Reeves is maybe more on the side of, oh, we could do Robin, and it would make a lot of sense. So we'll have to say, we'll have to see. Let's see. Do you think? Oh, here's a great question. Great question by Daro. Do you think the Batman will live up to the Dark Knight? You know, in my head, I'm trying my best to separate the two movies. The Dark Knight. A lot of movies don't live up to the Dark Knight. In my brain, no movie has lived up to the Dark Knight because it's my personal favorite movie. But I don't think that's what Matt Reeves is going for. I think he's going for something different altogether, right? You have a character that we've never really seen the detective side of. And that's kind of what I would love to, I want that to be the approach. And it looks like we're getting that approach. Just seeing the Riddler's clues for the Batman. Okay, we're kind of going the detective route. Just seeing Batman and then Bruce and then Batman in the trailer show up to that same crime scene as both Batman and Bruce Wayne. All right. He's clearly going back and checking for clues. A lot of things that get me motivated and fired up to see a detective side of the Batman compared to the Dark Knight. That is just a down-to-earth, maybe not as gritty as what we're going to get in the Batman, but a down-to-earth look at this man who has a lot of money, who brings that money into his suit and his vehicle, and a broken man. And that's what we got in The Dark Knight. And that's why I think it works so well, is the emotion that we get from Christian Bale, a top-notch actor, as Bruce Wayne. But to live up to, I'm going to try to separate the two in my brain. I just want a different interpretation. So I'm going to try to refrain from comparisons, but it is definitely a good point to bring up because everybody's going to compare the two movies because we haven't gotten a singular Batman since the Dark Knight trilogy. We got Batman v Superman, but not a Batman movie. So it's definitely going to have a lot of expectations. Austin, do you think Reeves' Dawn, War for the Planet of the Apes are some of the most underappreciated films from the 2010s? Absolutely. And I know probably everyone watching, we are all probably fans of the Planet of the Apes trilogy. I would assume so, at least. But in terms of the more wide-scale general audience, I just feel as if we don't talk about the Planet of the Apes trilogy enough, especially the second two movies, right? Because the second two movies did so much for the IP for Planet of the Apes. The first one's great. It's a great start. You kind of get into everything. You're establishing this world. James Franco was pretty good in the movie, all of this stuff. But these last two movies, Dawn is one of my favorite movies of all time. I am expanding my Letterboxd list right now, and you will see Dawn of the Planet of the Apes pop up in my top 50 movies of all time. It's coming. War, I thought, was a great capitalization. Maybe not as action-heavy as Dawn, but War was just as great as well. So a lot of really good things to look forward to in this Batman movie because of what we saw from Matt Reeves in Planet of the Apes. But yeah, underappreciated, absolutely. Let me make sure I didn't miss any super chats, you guys. All right. Okay, we're going to go back into the normal chat room and pick some of these questions. Thoughts on Cobb Cannon says, thoughts on standalone Riddler movie starring Paul Dano. It's interesting. I don't know if I would want a standalone Riddler movie just because I don't know if there's enough story there to separate from the Batman like what we got from the Joker, right? But it's a good call. It's a good call, especially if Paul Dano, I think it will work more maybe as an HBO Max. I know I keep saying that, but HBO Max is a very nice place to have some of these off-brand Batman properties, kind of like what they're doing with Gotham, right? It's a nice place to kind of house these types of things. So it's definitely a good point. But man, I'm just so pumped to see what Paul Dano does in this movie as Riddler. One of my favorite actors. I was talking to my friend who's never seen Paul Dano before in anything because, he doesn't watch a ton of movies. I told him, there will be blood. There will be blood, guys. Paul Dano in that movie is spectacular. But also Prisoners, a movie like Looper. I could name movies for days, and he's just a top-notch actor. So can't wait to see what he does in the Batman. We did get a super chat. Thank you so much, Daquan. I think Suicide Squad will be the underrated DC movie of next year. What do you think? You know what? After that footage, I hope people don't see this as... I hope this doesn't go overlooked in the grand scheme of the superhero box office next year. Because with a movie like The Batman, with a movie like Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man 3 is next year, right? No, I might be lying. Spider-Man 3 might be the year after. But with those two films and, even a lot of the Marvel movies, this could be overlooked. But you bring up a nice point. It could be one of those that just not enough people go and see because of the first movie. So I hope that's not the case. I hope a lot of people go and see it, respect it, and hopefully it delivers on that war-esque promise that it's bringing us. Because, guys, that behind-the-scenes footage was just so cool. I loved what I saw in that footage. So if you are just getting here, by the way, I do want to bring up and mention you can go a little bit back in the live stream. I talked about my top 5 DC Fandome moments, talked about each of the panels. All of that was at the beginning of the video, and now we're in the Ask Me Anything portion of the video. So just getting you guys caught up. Oh, yeah, here's another good one, too. Swiss Army Man. Paul Dano is pretty good. Yes, he's great in that movie. Little Miss Sunshine. How could I forget? And, yeah, man, hey, this is one. Wildlife. He directed that movie, and I was a fan of that movie. That's the Jake Gyllenhaal film, right? Yeah, Wildlife. That's a good movie. So, yeah, really excited. Really, really excited to see what he does in the Batman. What do you think about Thor: Love and Thunder? I'm hyped out of my mind for Thor: Love and Thunder. And it could just be because I was on kind of I was on a Taika Waititi kick recently. Did Swiss Army Man, revisited Hunt for the Wilder People. Obviously, Thor Ragnarok's one of my favorites. What We Do in the Shadows is hilarious. He's just a well-rounded director. But now he said he's going even crazier. He's doing like space, what do you say, space whales or something like that, space sharks. I'm like, dude, give me all that, man. Just go crazy with this franchise. And I think he's going to, but I think he's going to bring his style and his flair that he brought to Thor Ragnarok, man. I cannot wait to see what happens in Thor: Love and Thunder. And if you haven't seen the Jane Foster storyline in the comics, it is I don't know if they're going to bring that to this film, but it is a heartbreaking and heart-wrenching story that I think everyone is going to appreciate if they do that. Spider-Man 3 is currently December 21st, 2021. So yes, 2021 movie as of now. We'll just have to see. All right, let's get back into the chat room and see what else you guys have to say. Yeah, Paul Dano, Love and Mercy, of course. My goodness, guys. Paul Dano is one of the best actors right now, and he's the Riddler going up against one of the best actors in the Batman. I mean, how do we get so fortunate? 10 years ago, we'll go even farther back. We'll say 15 years ago. Did we ever imagine we would have gotten something like Avengers Endgame? Did we ever imagine we would have gotten Batman versus Superman on the big screen, regardless of how you felt about the movie? A Justice League. I mean, I never pictured in a million years we would be as lucky. And now, there's more of a, we're going to nitpick this. We're going to get frustrated with that. It's not doing, but those that weren't able to see the glory of the superhero just craze that we've gotten on the big screen, I'm happy we're living through it. That's for sure. And I hope it keeps up and continues. And I hope they continue to do well at the box office, man, because both Marvel and DC want them both to prosper. I'm a big fan of both properties and Star Wars even. But just focusing on superheroes, I also love something like, and we'll talk about this in the next couple of weeks, The Boys. Very different looks at these kinds of superhero movies and worlds and IPs. So, yeah, some really cool things happening within superheroes right now. Let's see. Okay, back to the chat room. Make sure we didn't get any super chats. Don't want to miss one. Okay. Here's a cool one. What do you think about the Game of Thrones prequel coming in 2022? I am not as excited after that final season of Game of Thrones, but I'm still excited. I think this is a world that you can build on. I think this is a world you can explore. I hope it's well written. I hope it's well done. We'll just have to see. My excitement level isn't all there yet because I don't know a ton about what we're getting. But as soon as we know, as soon as I start seeing some images, maybe a trailer, I'll start getting more hyped. So yeah, I think it's interesting for sure. Have you ever noticed how much Samara Weaving looks like Margot Robbie? There's another actress too. It's Samara Weaving, Margot Robbie, and I think who's the other girl? There's a third girl that looks just like him. But yeah, it's kind of insane how similar all these three girls look. Like I kind of got them confused when I first saw Ready or Not trailer. I'm like, is that Margot? No, oh no, that's Samara Weaving. What's going on here? So yes, they look very, very similar. Cobb Cannon says, thoughts on The Rock's Black Adam? Do you think The Rock has the acting chops to play the character? I do. Now, 20 years ago, I would have said, no, he's a wrestler. But he has slowly gotten better, and he's put the work into. He's paid for the acting classes. He has studied. He has done everything he's needed to do to become a better actor, and I think he's progressively gotten better. I mean, even a movie like The Rundown, I thought he was great in it, but you could tell he hadn't been acting for a while. And obviously, the stuff with the mummy and all that ridiculous stuff, but he has gotten better, and I think this is the perfect time to jump on a huge property like Black Adam. Because, I mean, obviously, we got... I can't even think of it right now. I mean, Jungle Cruise is something like, all right, Jumanji, that's it. Jumanji, that is kind of a well-known property. Black Adam is like another level, especially for those that love superhero movies. So this is the perfect time because I think he can handle it. I think he can lead the film. And I think he can do what he said he was going to do yesterday, and that is take on the Justice League. He's like, Henry Cavill, I'm coming for you. I'm The Rock. Hear me roar. So it gets me extremely excited. I definitely think he can handle it. All right, let's see. Yes. It is the girl from Sex Education. So it's Samara Weaving, Margot Robbie, and the girl from Sex Education. They look so similar. It is ridiculous how similar they look. But yes, I am a fan of all three of those girls as actresses, by the way. Here's an interesting question. Batfleck versus Bale versus Keaton. I think they all three have their positives and negatives. So I think Keaton, here, we'll start with Batfleck. So Batfleck is the big, dark, brooding, I'm going to take a machine gun and mow you down in my Batmobile type of guy with some incredible action scenes. Bale, it's much more of an emotional state that Bruce Wayne is in, and he's always feeling like he's at fault for what happens to those around him. Michael Keaton, I thought, was a really cool mixture of the two, but, we see him in the films. He's dealing with some very different circumstances than what Bale's Batman has to deal with. So overall, my personal favorite is Christian Bale. I think Ben Affleck kind of encompasses Batman maybe better than the other two. And I think Michael Keaton kind of set the standards for what the modern day Batman is. So they all three have their just great, not charming, but, I would be scared if I saw any of the three. Batfleck would scare me the most because he's ginormous as the Batman. But Christian Bale's Batman, you could say he is even a bit ruthless in some of the movies. So they all three have their different quirks, and I'm a fan of all of them. But my personal favorite is Christian Bale as the Batman. And that could just be because I prefer his movies than the other two. But Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne in a Batman Beyond movie, sign me up today. Sign me up yesterday. I think that would be incredible. Here's a question I do want to hit. We have a super chat, and I told you guys I want to make sure I hit all of these. Ryan says, have you ever seen Curb Your Enthusiasm? Not enough to make a review, because I've seen just a lot of random episodes. But Larry David, just a hilarious show with some great creators who've went on to do some other great shows. And it's super entertaining every time I watch it. I've not seen it like in order from beginning to end. It is one that I've just caught random episodes. So again, I couldn't review it, but what I've seen has been great. It's one of those shows that's like, there's so much to catch up on. I just don't know if I'll ever get the shot because of what I do with the channel right now. But it's a great question. It is an extremely entertaining show. So if you guys have the chance to check it out, please do that. Looking for some more questions right now in the chat room. Let's see. Favorite Matt Reeves film? It is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I just love that movie. It's one of my favorite sequels of all time. It's one of my favorite epic blockbusters of all time. And the music, I think it's Michael Giacchino. The music and the cinematography in those movies are spectacular. And special effects. Is it true? Can you guys fact check me on this? I'm pretty sure, I've talked about this before, I'm pretty sure none of the Planet of the Apes movie won the Oscar for best visual effects. I think that's true. And if that is true, what world am I living in? Am I in a different reality? What's going on, man? That is ridiculous. I think the CGI in those movies, incredible, some of the best I've ever seen. But I think Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is a fantastic movie. By the way, if you guys are enjoying this live stream, this Q&A, I'm going to try to keep it going for a little while longer. And if you haven't yet, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. I appreciate all of the support on these videos. I love doing them weekly. And if we can try to get this to maybe 100 something likes like that, I'd love to hit that mark because it does kind of push this video out there so other people see it and we get some new people on the channel. I appreciate it. Okay, back to the live stream, back to the questions. Let's see what you guys, you've had some really, really good ones today. Would there be a Justice League sequel after the Snyder Cut? No, I'm pretty sure they've kind of closed that down. I think Zack Snyder is done with the DCEU after this. I am excited to see him move on. I'm happy that he had the chance to come back and do this, though. I really am. And it's unfortunate because we're going to watch it and be like, what's next? And then we're not going to get it. So that's kind of one of the reasons I'm a little hesitant. But regardless, I think it is very cool that we got the Snyder Cut. But no, I don't think he's coming back. What character are you most excited to see in action in the Suicide Squad? What is it about Weasel? Sean Gunn's Weasel. I got so just like, why is that so cool? It's probably John Cena's character. I'm interested to see how he fits within this world because we know he does a great job with Dave Bautista. I think he's going to do a great job with John Cena. I hope we can see him because he's... never mind. But a Weasel is another answer for that. How many Baby Yoda stuff you got? Let's see. I got that Baby Yoda. I got one back there. You see the little pop figure. See him all the way back there. I moved him. And then I bought, hang on. Yeah. I bought that little number. You can't really see it in the videos. My big head and the rest of my body covers it up. But I love Baby Yoda. I also have the shirt that says Baby Yoda. And it's, where that has Baby Yoda, he's going, wee! And, you know, wee! Because he makes the baby noises. And he's in the shape of Kentucky because that's where I live. But I love Baby Yoda, man. I am so excited for The Mandalorian Season 2. I cannot wait to see what that brings us. Let me scroll. Make sure I didn't miss any super chats. Who do you think is going to die in the Suicide Squad? Oof. Oh, man. I think the good chance of Javelin. Again, Polka Dot Man's just too obvious for me. And I'm a really big fan of that actor. I just, he's probably going to die, but I think Javelin's a good one. I think a couple, maybe the members, maybe Captain Boomerang. Yeah, I mean, maybe some of the members from the last movie could die. I think Rick Flag has a good chance of dying as well, but do not get too attached. James Gunn made that very clear. Sean Connor says, do you think Will Smith will return to the role of Deadshot? Yes, I do. I think I'm looking for my water. Did I just thirsty? I found it. Yeah, I think he's definitely going to return to the role eventually. We got to kind of give ourselves some space from the last Suicide Squad, which obviously we're bringing back Rick Flag and Amanda Waller and stuff. But Will Smith's a busy man, and I think he will return if we do go back to that universe. He will return eventually, and I liked his character. I like Deadshot quite a bit, so I'm excited to see him come back. Who's your favorite Peter Parker and Spider-Man? Oh gosh, guys. So just Spider-Man. It is a tough competition between Tom Holland and Tobey Maguire because I think both of them are great Spider-Man. James Spider-Man. It's a tough competition because, Tobey, what he does, I think his strength and his willingness to do the train scene in Spider-Man 2 is a great example of that. And he's always trying to save the one he loves. Tom Holland Spider-Man is, I think it's much more comic book accurate, but I don't like the suit. I don't like Tom Holland's suit as much as Tobey Maguire's. That's kind of the OG suit for me. Peter Parker, it's no competition. It is Tom Holland. I just think he embodies the spirit of the comic books more. But I do have nostalgia for Tobey. So I go back, I watch Tobey, I get happy. Spider-Man 2 is one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. But I'm obviously a fan of both. Andrew Garfield, I felt like he just got the short end of the stick. His movies weren't as good, which stinks, but I don't hate him. I don't hate him as Peter Parker at all. I do think he's a clear third, but that's just live action, guys. Listen, Jake Johnson was such a great Peter Parker. Just for the small time we got Chris Pine, I thought his voice worked really well for the character. But in terms of live action, it's just kind of a Tom Maguire over here, Tom Holland over here, different qualities, both great interpretation. We can have two good ones. We can have two good ones. I mean, it feels like it has to be a competition, which is fine. It's part of what I do on my channel, but it's okay to have two good ones. It's not that I find anything wrong with Tom Holland's suit. I just think it's a bit too CGI. I like Tobey's more. I like both the suits, but Tobey's has that look, man, that stylized, textured look. You look like you can reach out and just feel Tobey's suit. There's Tobey's suit. There it is. But just comparing it to Tom Holland's suit, it just looks a bit more rubbery. But that's fine. That's fine. I really enjoyed both of them. Thoughts on Viola Davis? I like how we're keeping it DC-centric, by the way, guys. It kind of goes with the tone of the video. Thoughts on Viola Davis as Amanda Waller? I think she's great. I mean, I think she's the perfect representation. It's just I didn't like the movie. So, put her in this movie and have her do some stuff. I'm like, yes, give me that Amanda Waller back because she was so good. I'm so happy she's coming back, guys. I really do. Thoughts on Travis Scott's song for Tenet? So I never thought I would get asked this question because I never thought Travis Scott would have a song for Tenet. That trailer, guys, I watched that trailer and I know I didn't do a reaction. Part of it is because just so a little insight into the YouTube world, YouTube only allows for 3 notifications within 24 hours. So I couldn't react to that Tenet trailer because then I had one less notification for DC Fandome. That's why I didn't do it. So you saw that yesterday. I did multiple videos, and you probably, if you have my notifications on, and if you don't, if you want to hit the bell, you only got 3 notifications. Well, that's why. So if you guys have any YouTube related questions like that, like why don't I get this many notifications? Why do these videos sometimes do this? Why do I not see videos on the homepage? Feel free to ask me. I'd love to answer some YouTube specific questions. But yeah, only 3 notifications. Didn't react to the trailer. That trailer got me hyped, man. I love the way that it flowed. Again, I never thought I would hear Travis Scott and a Christopher Nolan, but it was a nice little mashup, man. I just thought the trailer was super cool, and I've watched it multiple times. My wife says, I'm hungry. What should we eat for dinner? I don't know, but you better be in there cooking it, girl. Nah, we're probably going to go out and eat because we're lazy. So thank you, wife. I appreciate you asking. You can just come in. I mean, if you want to come in and you just want to be on camera during the live stream, that's fine. That's fine. I know you probably don't want to, but hey, let's go back to some actual questions. Let's see. Have you gotten into a theater yet? No, I haven't went to a theater yet. My plan is to watch Words on Bathroom Walls, I believe is the name of the movie, possibly tomorrow, which will be my first time back in a theater since before pre-pandemic. So I'm pretty excited. Got my mask ready, my superhero mask, a Marvel mask. I got a DC mask being worked on too. But I'm definitely going to go back, see how that movie is, log it on Letterboxd. Won't be reviewing it on this channel. Also, Superman Man of Tomorrow, I believe is the name of the movie. I'm planning on maybe watching that and bringing you guys a review because apparently it dropped today. I didn't know it was dropping today. So Superman Man of Tomorrow, going to bring you guys a review for that hopefully tomorrow. Let's see. What do we got here? We got some, going to answer some questions. Thoughts on Robert Pattinson Ratman? I think he's going to be a great Batman. Ratman, I don't know, but if you meant to say Batman, I think he's going to knock it out of the park. Man. I think he's a fantastic actor that had to kind of pull himself away from the Twilight thing. And if you're a fan of Twilight, that's fine. My wife's a fan of Twilight. But yeah, I think he just kind of get himself out of that hole and finally establish himself as a big time actor. I think he's doing that with Tenet and the Batman. My wife says, I'm doing homework, maybe next time. So you're not going to cook me dinner, but at least you're getting homework done. Keep going, girl. Work on the homework, unless you want to come in here and hang out with me, because I get bored sometimes. Black Widow, anticipation levels. Not as hyped as I was. I tend to be kind of, when these movies keep getting pushed, I get less excited for them. I'm like, I hate the anticipation, because we were supposed to see this way back in the year, and I'm excited, but it's like, at this point, I'll see it when I see it. And that's kind of how I am for all these movies. Now, Tenet's kind of a different story, because we knew it was going to be one of the first ones, but for a lot of these other movies, like A Quiet Place, we have to wait another how long? And some people have already, imagine the critics who have already seen A Quiet Place Part 2, and there have been a couple people that are embargoed until next year. Not being able to talk about it until next year. That would suck. That would really, really suck. So I find that funny, but also extremely unfortunate. Are you going to wear a hazmat suit to the theater? Not just wearing my mask, man. Just wearing my mask. Listen, my wife, she works in a hospital. She's dealing with patients who, not directly, because usually in her portion of the hospital, she doesn't have to deal with that, but she just wears her mask, goes in, does her job. And I told her, I'm like, if you can do it for your job, I can do it for my job, since this is kind of my job. So I'm doing it because I have to do it, but I'm also doing it because I'm excited to get back into the theater. But no, just a mask for me, not the hazmat suit. Unless I walk in and no one's following protocol, then we'll have to see about my second time in a theater. We'll have to see. All right. The Boys 2. Expectations, and are you excited? I may have already watched it. Not every episode just yet, but I'm getting close. So, I can't say, but can't say anything. Not a word. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's bad. You probably guess. You won't know. All right, let's see. Do you think DC's future is rated R? Not in its entirety, but I think there's a good chunk of it. I think there's a big chunk of DC going in that direction, A, and B, just kind of establishing, hey, we can do these DCEU movies. We can also do these separated films like a Joker or like this new The Batman universe. So I would like to see some more movies. I Am Vengeance. I hope Vengeance is rated R. I really do, man. I didn't think that was possible until that trailer. Then I saw that trailer and said, I got some R-rated vibes out of that. Thoughts on Robert Pattinson and Tom Holland in The Devil All the Way? Super, super excited for that movie. I really am. Now, there is, I won't say it. I won't reveal that secret just yet. But in terms of me watching the movie, yes, I'm going to try to get that review for you guys a little bit early. So stay on the lookout if you're excited for The Devil All the Way. It looks like it could be also, I did watch another movie that I can't talk about just yet. It is an Oscar Beatty movie coming to Netflix. Take a guess in the live chat what that is. I'm excited to talk about that movie as well. Okay. And it's not Mank. I meant Ratman, not Batman. Robert Pattinson is Ratman. Then yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know who Ratman is, but I don't know. But if it's like a cute little nickname for Robert Pattinson Batman, sure. I think that's kind of cute. Here we go. Hey, Austin, I'm a subscriber to your channel for the past 2 years. Love your content. What are your thoughts on Interstellar? It's my second favorite movie of all time. Please reply. It's the 6th time. Listen, I can't see all the chats. That's why I encourage super chats, because they make it super evident on the screen. So if I don't respond, it's usually just because I don't see the question. So, but I appreciate you for being a part of the channel. Interstellar has improved for me on every watch, and that's why I'm going into Tenet like, okay, don't finalize your opinion here, Austin, because, and it is a shame, because I wish I could see every movie twice, to see how thoughts go the first to the second time. And normally they stay the same, but with a director like Christopher Nolan, he tends to put a lot of very secretive details into his films. A lot of very secretive details. And, okay. Wow. I just got a text saying I just got a text saying, this is live, saying that there is an active shooter at our local mall. Wow. I hope that is a false report. I am glad that I am home. Oh my goodness, y'all. Just 3 minutes down the road. Okay, we're going to... Where was I? Yeah, Interstellar gets better over time for me. So I've seen it 4 or 5 times, and I want to continue to watch it because I want to continue to see where my thoughts lie. But I'm a huge fan of the movie now. And at first, I'm like, it's good, but I disagree with certain things. And hopefully that's kind of the way Tenet goes as well. Oh my goodness. Woo. It's a bombshell. Thanks, Mom. Let's see. Can't talk about Boy Season 2, but I like that you're curious. Stay tuned because I'm going to have, my plan is to do a review of the entire season and then episode by episode as they release weekly. So you'll get that 1 through 3 the first week, episode 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So really excited for that. My wife says, wow, are you sponsored by Hint Water? No, but I just find them really delicious and I like flavored waters. But I don't like flavored waters with all the sugar, so I just like the little hint. You know, it's a hint of flavor. I'm not sponsored by Hint Water, by the way. Would Ben Affleck return to Batman after Flash? I don't think so. I think it's almost confirmed. I mean, not necessarily confirmation just yet, but pretty much confirmed that this is it. This is the final role for him, which is extremely unfortunate. But if you're going to go out, and you guys know the Flashpoint storyline, and you know how it ends, I think that's the perfect way to go out. I can't wait to see that happen if we get it. But come on, guys. It's Flashpoint. We got to get it. It's got to happen. Let's see. Here's a question that I do want to respond to. Christopher says, who would you want to play a new Green Lantern? My pick is John David Washington. I want to go, John will be John. The John Stewart route. I'm a huge fan. And not that I don't love... the other, I mean, there are plenty of Kyle Rayner, a lot of different Green Lanterns, Hal Jordan, but I want to see kind of a different interpretation. And John David Washington seems like he's a friend of Warner Brothers right now. It seems like that could be a cool direction to go in. So if we get that, but that's only if they do a film. I don't think he would go down to doing a TV show because, you know, he and his dad, Denzel, they're kind of big time actors. But if we do ever get a movie, I would love to see John David Washington play a John Stewart. All right, let's see. I hope nothing's happened. I don't know. I really don't know. I'll have to look into it after. But yeah, Mom's like, yeah, active shooter in the mall. All right, we're gonna steer clear from that. My goodness. Let's see. Okay. Couple more questions. Let's see. We might go for a little bit longer. Did you cry watching Interstellar? You know, I got close. That scene with McConaughey, where he's bursting into tears. It's such a good scene. And that movie is full of emotion. My favorite scene in Interstellar, I love how this has kind of turned into Interstellar talk. My favorite scene is, it's the planet scene. So, whoa. Hang on, y'all. Hang on. Let's see. Wow. Okay, getting more information on the mall shooting. There is a shooter in the mall. It has been confirmed. I like how I'm filling you guys in on this news situation. Wow. Okay. We're not going to the mall today, y'all. My goodness. Kentucky is wild today. But my favorite scene is the planet scene. It is it's not, what is it? What does he say? It's not mountains, it's waves. And you see it kind of rushing towards the characters, and that music kicks in and they're rushing back, and he's like, get to the ship. Woo! I mean, that scene gets me, and I go back and I think that's my favorite. I love the piano, but I think that may be my favorite score. What's the name of that song? That may be my favorite part of that score for Inception. When the music picks up, it goes, Dan. You know, I just love that so much. So yeah, Interstellar. Heck yeah, I love a lot in that movie, and it actually, my friends, a lot of them prefer Interstellar over Inception. So it's becoming more and more prevalent to Interstellar is going to be maybe one of Christopher Nolan's best movies at the end of the day, to think that way. And that's okay. I think it's a fantastic film. All right, let's see. We do have a super chat that I want to get to. Mario's Marvelous Review says, any advice for upcoming YouTube movie reviewers? Oh, I have so much. I have so much. And I've said a lot of this before, but something about staying patient. I think is probably the best route to go when a video doesn't perform, or when something doesn't go the way you think it's going to go, or when you're like, man, I hope this video does well. I hope it gets all the likes, and I hope people respond to it. There's a lot of conversation in the chat room. You're going to get frustrated. I just encourage you to try to stay positive. And sometimes, and that's when you know that things are maybe going better than you expected. When you start getting that hate, those hate comments, that's something you have to just kind of like, we'll brush it off. I'm not going to pay attention. See, I had to deal with that a lot when I was on Vine, because I had way more followers on Vine than I do on YouTube. So, and I got a lot of people just like, man, you ugly. And I ain't gonna lie, they weren't wrong. Man, you talk too much. That is also true. So I'm like Rocket Raccoon. That is also true. Everything you're saying is right, but you're doing it to try to be mean. So dealing with those kinds of things, just stay zen, stay patient. It's all going to be okay at the end of the day. Constantly put out videos. Try to make kind of like, I'm going to put this many out this week. Plan ahead. Have your entire month schedule. A lot of things that I could say. But most importantly, spread your video around. And see, I get to the point now to where sometimes I get a little bit lazy and I don't put it on Facebook and Twitter as much as I should, but I should. And I think that's important for YouTubers that are just starting out. Family, friends, all of these things. Just kind of get in that mentality when you start your channel and focus on it. I'll admit, and I talk about this on Sean Chandler's course that he's doing right now. If you guys, I think I was the first interview that he did for his course. And then obviously he did one with 3C Films. Just stay patient when it comes to these moments when your channel's maybe not doing as well as it should do. And I skipped classes sometimes to make YouTube videos. Don't do that. Don't follow in my footsteps, okay? But when it comes to kind of focusing, okay, should I go hang out with my friends or should I make a YouTube video? Maybe make a YouTube video. I have lost a lot of friends over this YouTube channel, but I've also gained a lot of what you all have given me, and that's kind of feeding me knowledge as I'm feeding you knowledge. So I have lost friendships from my YouTube channel, but I've gained you guys. And, honestly, at the end of the day, I'd rather have y'all, because who needs them anyway if they don't like my YouTube channel, right? So I appreciate you guys for everything that you do for me. But that turned into a big spiel. Let's get into some more questions. Ooh, here we go. Who should play Reverse Flash in a Flashpoint movie? Reverse Flash. I love the Michael Fassbender call. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of copied that from somebody, but yeah, I think Michael Fassbender would be a really good Reverse Flash, man. But it's kind of like he's already been a villain. He's been a Mysterio. I don't want to see that again. But if he were to get cast, there was a rumor for a while. It's like Will Ferrell is going to be Reverse Flash. I'm like, I don't know if I could. A part of me sees that. Maybe a super serious Will Ferrell. Maybe he loses a little bit of weight and kind of gets like. But Michael Fassbender, that's my choice just because I saw it. I won't lie. Ruben says Toby over Tom. Hey, a lot of people are Toby over Tom. My reasoning for Tom is just Tom is more comic book accurate. And I'm used to the comics, so that's kind of where I come from. But in terms of nostalgia, like if you ask a nostalgic Austin, yeah, it is probably Toby, because I love revisiting those movies. Even though I have friends who are like, Toby's too whiny. Toby is a little whiny in those movies, but I still think he does a fantastic job. In Spider-Man 2, again, one of my favorite superhero movies. All right, let's make sure I didn't miss any super chats here, guys. All right, I want to make sure. We're going to keep this maybe about 10 more minutes, just so I can go see what's going on with the situation where I'm living in the mall, because something's happening over there. I don't know. Let's see. The villains that you would like to see introduced in the Batman sequels. I've kind of already mentioned it. I want some more obscure villains. The Firefly rumor was pretty cool. I would say Mad Hatter is an interesting villain. Clayface. Oh, give me a Clayface movie, guys. Woo! Clayface. Oh, here we go. I like this. Let's see, an older Mickey Rourke as Reverse Flash. Vince Vaughn as Reverse. I don't hate that. Timothy Chalamet as Reverse Flash. Okay, that could be interesting. I'm trying to envision these as I'm seeing. I saw a good one here. I want to make sure I can get to. Let's see. Oh, I think it's gone. Oh, here we go. No, I see this. I see this. I don't know why, but I see Andrew Garfield as Reverse Flash, obviously with utilizing his American accent, but give him a revitalization after Spider-Man. Somebody says, go feed your wife. I know I need to. It's my turn to make dinner anyway, so I probably should feed her. Let's see. A couple more questions, guys. Mark Hamill is Clayface. Oh, what a call, Alex Lopez. That would be super cool. Professor Pig. Yes. Professor Pig is a very obscure villain in terms of, the general audience not knowing who he is. I think that would be cool. 5 more days to the Phineas and Ferb movie. Can't wait. I'm actually pretty excited for the Phineas and Ferb movie, y'all. I'm going to be reviewing that for sure. Austin Burke as Reverse Flash. Grr, Barry. I don't like Barry Allen. No, that was bad. All right, nope. I'm not going to be an actor. I refuse. Yeah, this is probably my favorite pick for a Two-Face. I think Matthew McConaughey would crush. I really do. But I also like the idea of him as a Norman Osborn in the Spider-Man world. I think that could be super cool. We do have a super chat. I want to acknowledge the super chat. Have you seen the Canadian TV show? Thank you so much, by the way. Thermonuclear? Oh, that's cool. That's a cool. Why isn't that my YouTube channel name? Let's see. I'll get to it in just a second. It's worth watching. It's the longest Canadian TV show. 14 seasons. Wow. I've heard of Heartland. I really have. I've just not had the chance to see it. Can you tell me, Thermonuclear, what streaming service this is on? And I would love to maybe give it a watch one of these days because I have heard a lot of great things about it. But a great recommendation. I appreciate the recommendations, by the way, from you guys in terms of movies and TV shows because I watched one recently and I'm going to log it on Letterboxd soon because of you guys, because of your recommendations. So appreciate it. If you guys have any for me, I would love to listen. I assume this is my Gerb. I love being cringeworthy because it makes people uncomfortable. Imagine Mad Hatter in a Batman movie. I could. Geek Truth 64. I think it would be super cool, man. Maybe not a down-to-earth, gritty kind of Matt Reeves sort of Batman movie, but hey. Thermonuclear says Netflix. Oh, cool. Okay, very cool. Well, thank you. And I will put it in my notes as I'm looking for another. Yeah, here we go. All right. Okay. On Netflix. Thank you for that. Let me see if we got any more. Here's something I was thinking about, and it's so funny that you say this. Please put Jake Gyllenhaal in something. Can we put Jake Gyllenhaal in something? So, you know what? I was just thinking about this on the car ride this morning. I would love to see Jake Gyllenhaal as a Joker. Do you guys remember Nightcrawler? Do you remember that movie? I just talked about it in a recent Netflix video. Imagine Jake Gyllenhaal from Nightcrawler as Joker. Look, we've seen so many incarnations, interpretations of it. I think he would nail it. And it's tough because we've already seen him as Mysterio. It's like DC's like, do we really want to take him and put him in our movie as a villain too? And I really liked him as Mysterio, by the way. But listen, this is something that I truly believe could work. Robert Pattinson's Batman going up against Jake Gyllenhaal as the Joker. I would love it. I would love it. So we've got some people saying, yes, he would be amazing. I agree. Jake Gyllenhaal, Two-Face, not bad. I see him more as Joker than Two-Face, but it's just because I've got my mind set on Nightcrawler. That's the only reason. But Two-Face is not a bad call. I'd just like to see him. I'd like to see him. I really do. Let's see. I want to acknowledge this super chat. Lost in the Real. $10 super chat. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate that. What is your favorite prop object in a film? Ooh, what a question. I've never been asked that question. Also, I saw you in Sean Chandler's course and you were great. Thank you for everything you do. Yeah, so I was a part of Sean Chandler's course. It was awesome. We had a great interview, talked for a long time afterwards. Sean's a good guy. And I will be hopefully getting a little bit of an endorsement video out there soon for that. So people should check it out, man. He's crushing it. He's crushing. He's got a really cool website and all that stuff. But what is your favorite prop object in the film? That's tough, man. There's so many things. I think of like Indiana Jones. I think of like Star Wars. I mean, down to the Darth Vader mask. I think of a lightsaber. I want to go a bit more obscure though. What's an obscure prop or object? Gosh, guys, everything's rushing to my brain right now. If I could have Captain America's Shield or Mjolnir, those are the two that I'm thinking of just right off the bat. Mjolnir is a good one because it's like, all right, Caps picked this up, and then Thor's picked this up, and I'm sure Natalie Portman's going to pick it up at some point. I'm like, that would be a pretty sweet one. But maybe it's a lightsaber. The lightsaber's just like classic. You know what it is when you see it. You think of Star Wars. Probably one of my favorite props in a movie of all time. But man, there's just a lot of great choice. Great question, Lost in the Reel. I appreciate that. Nice little call out for Sean Chandler's thing. Super fun. I'd love to see you guys have any great props here. Let's see. The Top from Inception. Great call, Christopher. Great call. Blade Runner Unicorn. Yes. Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh my gosh. That is obscure. Oh, Ark of the Covenant. Of course. That's kind of where my mind went when I thought of Indiana Jones. Yeah, that'd be a great one. The Book from Evil Dead, Sean Smith. So great. Cobb Cannon said something. I don't know if I want to put it on the screen, but if y'all in the chat, you've seen it. Wow. Okay. Gavin Murphy says, I own the wallet from Pulp Fiction. Holy cow. That's cool. Oh man, that's cool. Yeah, that would be a sweet prop to have. Let's see. Next question. How do you think Soul will be the Pixar film? Yeah, I think Soul's going to be great. I'm hearing a couple of Disney Plus rumors. I really hope that's not the case. I'd love to see that in the theater, but it's really difficult because parents try to keep their kids safe. We're not going to take our kids out to the theater. It's really tough to put a kid's movie out in theaters right now. And we saw SpongeBob. I think the box office numbers came in. I think they were drastically disappointing. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I think Soul's going to be great. I think it's going to be even better than Onward. And I was actually a big fan of Onward. I liked that movie quite a bit. My friend and I had a good time, had an emotional time. I would like to revisit Onward soon. I would like to revisit a couple of 2020 movies soon, including Invisible Man. But Onward's great. Put Jake Gyllenhaal in everything. I agree. Put him in everything. Movies, TV shows, doesn't matter. Jake Gyllenhaal, bada bing, bada boom. He's the best. Okay. Super chats. We got super chats. Thermonuclear again. Gosh, I love that name. Actually, Jake Gyllenhaal is got a movie on the go with Ubisoft's. Tom Clancy's The Division with Jessica Chastain, directed by David Leitch. I saw this, and I'm super pumped for this movie. Super pumped. Could be great. I've not really heard anything on it as of late, but man, David Leitch is a cool director, especially when it comes to action. Jessica Chastain is awesome, and that could be a really fun act. Jake Gyllenhaal just does everything. He really does. He does everything. I scrolled all the way down. I saw Jake Gyllenhaal put Oh, I don't know why that's funny to me. Robert Downey Jr. Ra's al Ghul. I don't know if I see that, but listen, Robert Downey Jr. can do anything. He can do anything. You should watch The Boys on Prime. I have, and I've watched a lot of The Boys on Prime, including season 2, and I'm going to have a review for you guys maybe this week, probably next week. I don't want to go too early with it. Probably next week, so we'll see. All right, let's see. I think the embargo lifts this week, though, so I can at least talk about it. Jake Gyllenhaal could play a character, and I will be all in. Yeah, it doesn't matter what he plays. I think he's a phenomenal actor. What are your thoughts on the Cowboy Bebop live action coming out? So I think that wasn't that delayed because of an injury on set. I believe it was. It looks great. I mean, just seeing the talent, who's involved with it, and the filmmakers involved, I think it could be super cool. When it comes to anime adaptations and live action, they're very just mostly miss, to be honest with you, but hit and miss as a whole. It worries me. It makes me nervous to think about the possibility of this coming into the live action space because it's such a good show. But I think it could work. I really do think it could work. And if you look into some of these people involved, you're like, oh man, they've really got some great talent. And what's the lead? What's the guy's name who's playing the lead? I think he was actually the one that got injured on set. Interesting call. Not maybe who I would have picked, but yeah, it could be cool for sure. Let's see what else you guys got. Let's get some questions here, guys. Let's scroll all the way down on accident. Sorry. I'll scroll back up. Overrated David Fincher film. Overrated. Oh gosh, this is going to hurt. Okay, so I really, really like this movie. I actually think this movie is kind of great, but I don't hold it in such high regard like I do his other films. It's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. So I'm not going to say it's overrated. I don't think it's completely overrated. But if you're asking me what movie of his I don't love as much as everyone else loves, it's probably The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I'm in the 8 out of 10 territory with that. I'm in the 8 out of 10. Whereas I think a lot of people are in the 9 and 10 out of 10. But if that constitutes being overrated, then sure. Otherwise, I mean, the only one I really don't like is Alien 3. And I don't think a lot of people like that. So I think he's just a phenomenal, top-notch director. One of my favorites working, my number 3 favorite director right now. Oh, I like this call. Ana de Armas would be great as Zatanna. I love that. I absolutely love that call, Midnight. That would be awesome. That is great casting. And Jake Gyllenhaal would be great as Scarecrow. I agree. You know what? Let's go, Joker. Scarecrow. I could absolutely see him as Scarecrow. A little bit of a different version than what we saw in Batman Begins. But I think he'd be really, really good. Least favorite Denis Villeneuve film. Let me go to my Letterboxd just to make sure I'm getting this right. It's tough because when you have your favorite director, and I'm pretty sure I know what the answer is. I just want to make sure. When you have your favorite director, you often don't want to talk about the worst movies from that director. I would also love to know in the chat, what is your least favorite Denis Villeneuve film? Is it one of my big ones? So my big ones are Blade Runner 2049, Arrival, and Prisoners. In terms of the ones that I think are overrated, let me make sure I get to, okay, your lists. All right. Gosh. All right. I need to go to my Denis Villeneuve list. It is, well, let's just talk about the ones that everyone has seen. Okay. So everyone's seen Prisoners. Everyone's seen Arrival. Everyone's seen Blade Runner. Everyone's seen Sicario. I would imagine, at least most people. So out of those 4, his top 4, it is Sicario for me. I still think Sicario is a great film. I really do. But there's something about it that doesn't measure up when it comes to the pacing. I think the pacing is my issue. Again, I think it's a phenomenal, fantastic film. I really do. But that is probably my least favorite. So let's see what some of your alls is. Of course. Well, so Enemy is, I have that below the top 4, but I know a lot of people who haven't seen Enemy. So that is probably my least favorite out of his main 5. We'll say main 5. But in terms of the big 4, it's Sicario. So my top 5 goes, actually, you know what? It's I know it's not pronounced Incendies, right? But that is my number 3, Denis Villeneuve. So my top 2 are my number 4. So Arrival, Blade Runner, Prisoners, Incendies, and obviously, what am I forgetting? This is number 5. We just talked about it. Sicario. And Enemy falls into number 6. So yeah, I think the obvious choice there is Enemy, is what I'm seeing from a lot of people in the chat. Yeah. Let's see. This is a good one. How do you feel about the new movies like Greyhound being released exclusively to Apple TV? It's interesting because I don't know a lot of people who are just talking about Apple TV Plus. So like they're on Netflix or on Amazon Prime or this and that. But Greyhound, I think, actually did pretty good numbers. And we've got the new Sofia Coppola movie On the Rocks coming out on Apple TV Plus. And they're getting a lot of IPs. I mean, a lot of IPs. So I would like to see how they're doing in terms of the other streaming services. But I don't think these movies are going to get as popular as maybe they should be. So I hope we don't get any like major Oscar contenders, because I want a lot of people to see the Oscar contenders, as I do every single year. But it's interesting for sure. I just don't think of Apple TV Plus that often. I really don't. Let's see. I'm seeing some people say we're still talking about fan castings. Chris Hemsworth as Constantine. We got Bill Skarsgård as Mad Hatter. Danny DeVito. Great Joker. I can't see that. I can't see Danny DeVito. Emmett says you should do anime reviews. You know, I've done a couple. I do new releases. That's kind of the focus of the channel. So anytime we get a new release, I do often skip some of the anime shows and movies on Netflix. Because usually I kind of have to pick and choose just because there's so much to watch. And if it's 10 episodes and you get Lucifer and you get one of these anime shows, probably going to choose Lucifer because I feel like people are maybe more interested in that for my viewership. But I do, when we get new animes on Netflix, I don't like to go back and do older reviews because people usually don't show up to those videos, which is fine. I don't blame you in a sense. But yeah, that's definitely something. The more anime we get, and I'd love to review the next season of One Punch Man in depth if you guys would like to see that. I am a big fan of that show and Attack on Titan. So if you're interested in something like that, please let me know. It's just like when I do those and people don't show up, I don't know if it's worth the effort at that point, but I appreciate you for the recommendation. Absolutely. I scrolled down. This first thing I saw. Jake Mason says, did you see the Jensen Ackles being confirmed? Yes, I saw his video where he pulled out the comic book, the graphic novel. So cool. So cool. I love that casting. I think he could be great. And oh my goodness, that is such a good casting. Caleb, the kid from Stranger Things, correct? As Static. He's got a movie coming out later on this year, and I believe it's he and Idris Elba. And I'm very interested in it. And it could actually be an Oscar player. We'll have to see. But I'm going to see how he does. I'm going to get back to you on that. But that is a really good casting. All right, we have another super chat. What are your thoughts on Donnie Darko? Since we've been so obsessed, since we've been so obsessed with Jake Gyllenhaal in this video. It's actually, I'm in the camp of those that think it's a really good movie. So I know some that aren't a huge fan of Donnie Darko. Did I say Danny Darko earlier? I feel like I said Donnie Darko. But I am. I'm not going to say it's one of my classics. It's not necessarily a movie that I revisit. I believe I've only watched it twice. But it is this strange, obscure, clearly low budget, visual effects heavy, at times scary movie. The Mask. I mean, if you've seen Donnie Darko, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I think it works. And I think it actually holds up maybe even more well than people thought it would at the time. So I think Donnie Darko is genuinely a good movie, a really good movie. I'm not going to say it's not one of my favorite movies of all time, but I think it works absolutely. And I'm in the camp of those that enjoy the film. So a really good question, Lost in the Real. I like bringing up obscure movies and talking about them. Javier Bardem can do a great Bane or Clayface. Yeah, I mean, he could do anything. And Bane, I don't know if I see Bane as much, but Clayface could be interesting. Yeah, Javier Bardem, Clayface. Okay, I don't hate that. Let's see my wife still watching. Honestly, if you can marry one actress working today, who would it be? She listens to everything I say. I ain't gonna say married because obviously I love the woman that I married. But I mean, Margot Robbie came up to me. I wasn't married. I'd be like, hey, Margot Robbie, I'm married. Sorry, honey. See, look at that. I just want to see if she's listening. She's probably not. Let's see. I like this. Jessica Chastain or Vanessa Kirby as Poison Ivy. Ooh, Vanessa Kirby as Poison Ivy. Chastain, obviously, because of the hair, but Vanessa Kirby. Yeah. Or Vanessa Kirby. Yeah, I like that, man. She was great in Mission Impossible. I could see that absolutely. That's awesome. Lost in the Real would marry Emily Blunt, I assume. Yeah, she's great. What are your opinions on the Flash series? I like it, but I kind of fell off. I fell off of the CW universe as a whole, mostly because of time, because of this channel and what I do on this channel, which is always talk about movies. But I think it's a show that had its moments for sure. It just kind of fell too far into that CW kind of thing for me, to where I just, if I'm going to pick and choose what I'm going to review, I'm going to kind of focus on the new content and kind of steer away from the individual episodes. And there were a couple things that made me cringe a little bit. I went back and revisited a little bit of the big Crisis on Infinite Earths. I just don't love the way that it's kind of made. But I was a huge fan of the first 3 or 4 seasons, though. All that to say, I am a fan, and I think Grant Gustin crushes. I think he crushes as the Flash. Doesn't have the build, but he doesn't need the build for the CW universe. So I think he's really, really good. We still got some people. Leonardo DiCaprio as Scarecrow. If he would do it, I don't think he would ever do it. But hey, choose a Batman villain for Willem Dafoe. Well, I know I said Jake Gyllenhaal, but if they were to go the older route, I mean, obviously, you take the Lighthouse pairing and you bring it into this new universe and you give Robert Pattinson a Willem Dafoe and that laugh and that smile as the Joker. Of course he'd crush it. I see him as no one else other than Joker. But he'd probably do good as other people. We saw him in Aquaman. He was a really interesting character in Aquaman. But yeah, I come on. It's the Joker for sure. For sure. What do you think the plot of Black Adam will be? I don't know. I think it'll be something along the lines of comes to Earth, the Justice Society is there to stop him instead of the Justice League for some reason, and it could be just kind of a back and forth between those two trying to prevent him from maybe taking over. Maybe he turns a new leaf somewhat, but he's still got to be villainous for Shazam, so it's definitely going to be him versus Justice Society. And he's going to be very difficult to take on because he is Black Adam. But yeah, I think that could be interesting. All right, guys, we're going to go like 2 or 3 more minutes. So any super chats, we'll definitely take those before we end. But let's do just a couple more questions. Thoughts on John Cena? I think he looks great. I think he looks super fun. Like he said, a douchey Captain America, which is hilarious. Let's see. Danny Trejo is Craven. Oh my gosh. What is the worst TV series finale? Wow, what a question. The worst. Oh, I've seen some bad ones. I think in the grand scheme, I mean, Game of Thrones definitely isn't the worst I've ever seen, but it was the most disappointing I've ever seen, for sure. The worst is tough, though. I don't know if I can give you an answer to that quite. I'd have to think about it. But most disappointing, Game of Thrones, for sure. Let's see. Couple more, guys. You should do a Jake Gyllenhaal tier list. I like that idea, Lucas. I think that'd be super cool. One of my favorite actors. This question is more political. Do you think movie cinemas are going to be putting up strict regulations after the pandemic? Yeah, I think these regulations are going to stick. I don't think they're going anywhere. And I don't know if there is going to be an after the pandemic anytime soon. I think we're just kind of we're just kind of along for the ride at this point, so we just have to see. But I think regulations are maybe not stay the same, but they will be much more strict as we go along, much more strict. We're living in a different world now, guys, and it's scary. It's a scary world that we're living in. Let's see. I'm going to be crushed. I'm going to be crushed if John Krasinski isn't cast as Reed Richards. Yeah, you and me both, my friend. You and me both. We're both going to be extremely crushed. Should the Batman be rated R? I don't know if it should, but I would like it to. I'd be open if it was rated R. I think it'd be super cool. Let's see. Thoughts on Timothy Chalamet as Robin? Wow. It's a tough call. I don't know. I think he's bigger than Robin as an actor. I think he's bigger. If Timothy Chalamet plays a hero, he's going to be the hero. You know what I mean? So I think it's a good casting, but I think as an actor, he's just bigger. The Thing is Jack Black. Jack Black is one of my favorite actors. I don't know about The Thing, but he is indeed one of my favorite. I would honestly maybe even see Seth Rogen more than Jack Black as The Thing. But because I heard the Seth Rogen little, not rumors, this and that, but yeah. Hey, Wiley Todd is in the chat. He says, hey, by the way, guys, I have the Discord link. We do have a Flick Fan Nation Discord channel. The link is actually in the description down below. So if you have Discord, if you're interested in something like that, be sure to join the channel. And and that is Discord Flick Fan Nation. Man, the conversations. There is a Letterboxd channel. There is a DC Fandome specific channel for the next few days. We're going to have a Tenet spoiler chat where you can only see if you go into that specific group. So a lot of really great things happening over there. And every time I check in, there are new conversations. I'm just like, y'all better than me. Y'all much better people with better conversations. Let's see. Would you rather rewatch? Here's an interesting one. Would you rather rewatch Booksmart or Superbad? Man, that's tough. Probably Superbad. I think Superbad is more like my era. You know what I mean? Like my era, living in the prime of my life, growing up with a movie like Superbad. I think Booksmart's a great movie, though. Booksmart may even be. Sorry, I've been talking for a while. A more well-made movie than Superbad in terms of direction, right? Olivia Wilde crushed it. But I think Superbad is the one that I gravitate towards more. And it's just because it's more relatable. Not their situation, but just that story in general. Let's see. In terms of the Discord, we got some. There's a me emoji, and there's a buddy emoji, and there's a baby Yoda emoji. So we got some cool stuff going on over there. Let's do 2 more questions, unless we get a super chat. 2 more questions, and then we'll end this. All right. What is your most rewatchable movie? Gosh. I think I've answered this before, but love my Nolan films, love to rewatch my Nolan films, love to rewatch a lot of movies in the MCU, like a Civil War, like a Winter Soldier. In terms of, just great overall fantastic films, I think Goodfellas is utterly rewatchable. I think couple of Fincher movies. I mean, I rewatch The Social Network a lot. I don't know if it's the most rewatchable movie, but I rewatch it a lot. In terms of classics, 12 Angry Men, a lot of great rewatchable movies. And just, I think that adds into my favorite movies of all time. But there are plenty of movies on that list, my favorite movies of all time, that I don't like going back and revisiting often. We mentioned The Godfather earlier. I don't like revisiting The Godfather. It's really long and it moves in a slow, some people would say slow way, but it's phenomenal. And it is, especially Godfather 2 is one of my favorite movies of all time, top 50 for sure. So it's an interesting balance you have to have with your favorite films, but rewatchable movies, it's definitely important if you want to go back and see it again. I think that adds into it. All right, guys, let's do one more actor. Just some people saying Back to the Future. Somebody say Batman Begins. Let's see. Let's do one more question, guys. I want to make sure I get a good one. I'm scrolling. I've missed a lot of questions. Apologies. That's why I do the super chats, to make sure I get them. Somebody said Back to the Future for me. Quick question. Spirited Away, My Neighbor Totoro. Spirited Away for me, but both of those, I think they may even be my top 2 Studio Ghibli movies. Someone said Goodfellas, Iron Man. Yeah. All right, here we go. This is a good one. And it's gone. All right. Sorry. I had a good question there. We're getting a lot of stuff in the chat room, but I want to find the perfect. Here, we'll end with this one. Since I haven't talked about this news yet, we'll end with this one from the Film Crusader. What do you think about the new Spider-Man, the Spider-Woman movie? We just talked about Booksmart. I believe it's Olivia Wilde, right? I believe that's the director. I'm excited. And, it's not a character that I would have said that deserves its own movie, because 1, I'm not as familiar with the Spider-Woman property, and 2, there had to be a good director attached, but I think they got the perfect director. We have to see how she handles action. That's really important. But in terms of a Spider-Woman movie directed by Olivia Wilde, that's great, man. That's great. So I am genuinely excited for that. I hope it pays off. So barring any more super chats, you guys, that has been today's 2-hour live stream. I appreciate y'all for joining. I appreciate y'all for liking the video and kind of nudging it in the right direction, telling me that you guys want more of this. And if you want more, man, we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep going. So I truly appreciate all of your chats, your super chats today, and just all of the incredible comments and questions that you guys had down below. Again, if you're not subscribed, be sure to hit that subscription button and the notification bell, just so you know, because I post a lot. Some people would say I'm a crazy person, but just so you guys know when we're posting. But as always, guys, I appreciate it. All of your support on my videos yesterday. Thank you guys so much for watching all of those videos. I did 4 or 5 total yesterday. And leave your comments, because I'm going to play them at the end of the live stream, by the way. But you guys left me so many great likes on the videos. I got some great discussions in the comments in terms of my 2 reaction videos, but also the news videos I did. I'm trying to do a little bit more of that. Chris from 3C Films, he keeps texting me. He's like, dude, you got to do more news videos. He's encouraging me. Y'all are encouraging me. So I appreciate it. I really do. And your responses to those videos kind of tells me if I should start taking the channel maybe in that direction a bit more. So I appreciate that. You guys are awesome. I truly want to do this. I want to keep doing this every single weekend. And I will see everybody very, very soon. And let's play some of these comments on the big screen.